So here we go then. Let's take a little dig around the news to find a couple of stories you might not have heard about. And Sian, would you like to kick us off this morning?
Yes, I can do. So am I right in thinking we're predominantly a coffee drinking studio?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, we should be drinking more tea.
Oh.
And I think we probably knew this already, but it turns out if you drink tea 3 times a week, you could lead a longer and healthier life. This is a new study conducted by the Chinese Academy of Medical Sciences in Beijing, and they looked specifically at coronary heart disease, stroke, and other conditions in that area. And they found if you drink tea at least 3 times a week, you will live healthily for around 17 months longer.
I see how this is interesting because China, of course, are big on tea, but it's not English breakfast tea. So I wonder what kind of tea they mean.
They had free choice of tea. 49% of the, how many was it? 14,000, I think it says here. 14,000 participants. So 49% of them mainly had green tea.
I was going to say green will be high, wouldn't it?
Just 8% of them had black tea, like what we would have in Tetleys and
so they're talking predominantly caffeine free, aren't they?
That is the.
That's a
I don't think I can deal with that.
No.
We're a morning team.
Not at this time of the day.
Well, this is it. We do down the coffee in great quantities, sort of early doors. In terms of tea, though, I mean, I like a cup of sort of breakfast tea. Not so keen on anything beyond that, though. What about yourself?
I like a peppermint.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and an occasional lemon and ginger, especially if you've got a sore throat. It's a good saviour.
Very good at this time of year.
Do you drink tea at all, Sian, or is it?
I quite like a cup of green tea every now and then. I think probably about 3 times a week is probably about right. So I think I'm in the good category, I think, here.
I had a proper English breakfast tea over sort of Christmas time when I hadn't had one in ages because, as you say, we're up early, so we just want the caffeine. We go straight for the coffee, but it's not because I don't like it. And it was lovely. So, yeah, maybe I should be having just more normal tea.
Bit of tea with a bit of cake is
British,
always nice. Bit of afternoon tea and cake. Maybe later then we might think about that. For me this morning, it's to the movies. Robert Carlyle has been speaking out because he has possibly teased a third Trainspotting film. Of course, in both movies he played Franco Begbie, didn't he? 96 was the original. 3 years ago now, the sequel. He told The Big Issue he'd love to do another movie, but insists any decision would be down to director Danny Boyle. That's it. So, yeah, I mean, I suppose this takes us on to another discussion about, sequels. Do you know any films that have had 3, a sequel and then a continuation that have actually sort of been good, or actually is it one of those things, the more you do?
The Godfather, of course, is a well-known one. A lot of people argue the second was just as good, if not better, than the first, but I'm not sure they say the same about the third.
That's it. The longer on you go,
Although Rocky, the third movie, is actually the one that Eye of the Tiger was made famous by.
Okay, yes.
So it's not even the first or second. So potentially Rocky's, I mean, there's about 20 of them now, but...
And he made one fairly recently, didn't he?
Yeah. Well, there's one about 10 years ago he did, which was when it did very well, I believe. I went to see it at the cinema.
I just don't know what they'd do for a storyline for the third Trainspotting, because I think the second one, it was quite nice looking back at how the characters had changed over that period. I don't know whether there's enough scope, really. But
maybe they could do a This Is England type thing and go through the sort of time periods. That went very well, didn't it?
That's an idea.
Good, yeah.
And the original, I mean, just one of those classic movies with a great soundtrack as well.
Brilliant.
Underworld, Born Slippy, of course, in the original. So we always like a bit of that. And finally, from yourself.
Mine's a bit different this morning. I'm going to be talking about a bit of a raunchy story, if indeed you are a tortoise.
Right.
Because there is a tortoise it's been basically credited with saving the species because of its incredibly high libido. So a giant tortoise whose legendary libido has been credited with saving the species from extinction is to return to the wild on the Galapagos Island. Diego is his name. He's among 14 male tortoises selected to take part in a breeding program on Santa Cruz Island. And it's been a great success. It's produced more than 2,000 giant tortoises since it began in the 1960s. And Diego's sex drive was said to be one of the main reasons.
Crikey,
He's
Diego.
produced more than 2,000.
Yeah, Diego is a raunchy little tortoise.
Look at Diego. Well, I tell you what, we doff our cap to you, Diego, this morning.
And he's 100 years old.
Wow.
Is he still reproducing?
He's got a very long neck.
I'm so glad that went there.
I don't know if he's still producing. I imagine so. They live for a very long time, don't they, tortoises?
There you go. Well,
You can find all the information if you'd like to on the World Latin America page of the BBC News.
we've been talking all about Kush over the last few days. I think now we need to definitely
Kush has got to up his game.
I think he has, hasn't he? Good old Diogo, bless him.
Yeah.
Let's move on swiftly. Calming ourselves down ever so slightly here on Breakfast with the Style Council.